Hello everyone. Today we're going to make some vegan eggplant parmesan. To do our eggplant and to do the casserole, we're going to use 3 large eggplants that we have peeled and sliced about 1/4 inch or so thick. We're going to use 6 pieces of whole grain bread that we've toasted. Today we're going to use Vermont brand sodium-free bread. 1½ teaspoons each of oregano and thyme. And as an optional ingredient you can use some vegan parmesan, but you might want to go sparingly on that because it's generally high in sodium. Then we're going to use some olive oil on our eggplant when we go to broil them. For the cheese sauce, we're going to use 1½ teaspoons each of garlic powder and onion powder, 3 tablespoons of cornstarch, 4½ to 5 tablespoons of tahini, 3 ounces of nutritional yeast, 3/4 cup of non-dairy milk, 1 package of silken tofu, 1½ cups of low sodium veggie broth, and then for the sauce we're going to use 1 large onion that we've diced, 2 jars of low sodium tomato sauce, and some olive oil to saute the onion. And we're also going to use some no salt seasonings to taste along the way. So let's get started. The first step in making our eggplant parmesan is to lay your eggplants out on some paper towels. Then you want to just sprinkle lightly salt on top of them. And what this will do is help draw the extra moisture and the bitterness out of the eggplant. After you lightly salt them, flip them over, and then gently sprinkle them lightly with salt again. And then we're going to cover them up with another piece of paper towel. And then you're going to cover them up with some kind of a pan to kind of put a little pressure on there. And you're going to let that sit for about 30 minutes or so just to draw that extra moisture out. Alright, our eggplant has been resting for about 30 minutes after being salted. So now we're going to take each piece and we're going to rinse that excess salt off of the eggplant. And we're going to lay them out on paper towels or on tea towels. After we have our eggplant rinsed and laid out on the tea towels or your paper towels, we're going to go ahead and lay down another layer again. Press down on it, and then again we're going to take another pan and put a little pressure on there to try to drain off the moisture that we just put on rinsing them off.
While your eggplant is resting, we're going to work on the breadcrumbs. So we're going to add the toasted bread into a food processor, and then we're going to grind them up until it resembles breadcrumbs. And it should look something like this. Then we're going to go ahead and add in our oregano and thyme, and vegan Parmesan cheese, which is optional, and blend until well combined. And there you go. Should look something like this, and you can set these breadcrumbs aside. Next, we're going to work on our vegan cheese sauce. In a food processor, we're going to add our tofu, and we're going to blend this up until creamy. And it should look something like this. Once that's done, we're going to add the rest of the ingredients for the vegan cheese sauce. Our veggie broth, our non-dairy milk, nutritional yeast, garlic and onion powder, our cornstarch, and lastly our tahini. And then we're going to add some no salt seasonings to taste. Some Mrs. Dash lemon pepper, a dash of freshly ground black pepper, some flax seasoning, and then we're going to blend this until well combined. Once all of your ingredients are blended together, it should look something like this. And set aside.
Now that our eggplant has been salted and then rinsed and dried, it's time to go ahead and get them broiled. So the first thing you want to do is go ahead and get your broiler started. Get it warmed up. And while it's warming up, we're going to lay our eggplant out on a cookie sheet. Then we're just going to lightly coat them up with some olive oil. I'm going to try to coat both sides. Just try to get a light coat of olive oil on each individual slice. Now that we have the first side coated, we're going to go ahead and flip each one over. And then we're going to repeat the process of coating them with olive oil on the other side. Okay, now they're all coated on both sides. You're going to stick this under the broiler for 3 or 4 minutes until they're browned on the first side. Then you're going to pull them out, flip them over, and brown them on the other side as well. And you're going to repeat this process until you get through all of the eggplant you have sliced up and ready. Okay, we just got our first batch of eggplant out of the broiler, and you can see they're fairly nicely browned on both sides. Set this aside and then reload the pan and continue the process of broiling your eggplant.
Now we're going to work on the sauce. In a large pot, I've added about a couple tablespoons of olive oil over medium-high heat. And then we're going to add in our onions. And then we're going to saute these until they're tender. Okay, once your onions are nice and tender, we're going to go ahead and add our sauce. And then we're just going to continue stirring this until it becomes warm through. And then we set aside.
Alright, now it's time to assemble our eggplant parm. We're going to kind of assemble it lasagna style. We sprayed our pan with a non-stick cooking spray. We're going to place a layer of eggplant on the bottom of our pan. Try to cover it up as best you can. Alright, after we get our eggplant down, we're going to place about 1/4 of our breadcrumbs over top of our eggplant. Then we're going to place about 1/3 of our tomato sauce on top of the breadcrumbs. Kind of spread it around a little bit so you get a nice even coat of tomato sauce. Okay, then we're going to spread about 1/3 of our cheese sauce on top of that. And then we're going to repeat these layers. 2 more layers. Alright, we have our 3rd layer of eggplant, breadcrumbs, tomato sauce, and cheese in the pan. So now we're going to take our last 1/4 of the breadcrumbs and we're going to sprinkle them out on top. Try to put a nice coat on top of it. Alright, now that we have the breadcrumbs on top, we're going to cook this in a 350 degree oven for about 20 or 25 minutes or until it's slightly browned on top. Now that the vegan eggplant parmesan is out of the oven, it's time to serve. And then we're going to go ahead and sprinkle this with a little bit of vegan Parmesan cheese. And there you have it, vegan eggplant Parmesan. Eat and enjoy. We hope you enjoyed our video. If you did, please subscribe. Or click on the Patreon link below. Or you can click on the videos from last week. Bye! Bye!